Okay, so it looks like we're live. We're doing it. Most of this is just a test of the different recording setups that we're attempting, but we figured that we would talk a little bit about all the smoke that we've been dealing with. I've been seeing it as like a really annoying bad thing because we're not getting the really cool sunsets and stuff that I would like to be shooting, or like stars or any of that stuff. But Majid, you've actually been doing some pretty cool stuff lately, so maybe we could talk about how the smoke that we've been dealing with doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think that landscape photographers can get really hung up on um, things like 90% cloud cover. I'm going to shoot in 90% cloud cover when there's a little crack on the sky and all the clouds are underlit, um, or else I'm going to leave my camera in the bag. Or, if it's a clear sky, I'm not even going to go out and that type of thing. And, you know, obviously, I think one of the things that you have to ask yourself is, could the shot be better with a more interesting sky? And a lot of the times, yes, is the answer to that. You're going to find that almost every picture you've ever taken, sure, with a better sky, it's going to be nicer.
Hmm.
With yeah, there's this great shot you have. Well, if you had a Momatis formation with lightning strikes, then it'd probably be cooler. So where does that, where do you kind of
Yeah, are you
put an
only
end to that?
are you only going to start taking the camera out of the bag when there's a tornado?
Right. So if you're Mark Adamus and you're on the road 300 days a year and you're in the outdoors all the time, then it's realistic that you're going to be a lot more picky about when the camera comes out of the bag because you've seen pretty much everything. Uh, but for weekend warriors, for people that are doing this more of a hobby, then you kind of have to work with what conditions there are, on Saturday and Sunday, and maybe that occasional holiday. So we're so lucky with our holiday system over here in the U.S. 2 whole weeks if we're lucky.
Right,
Where
exactly.
in other countries are like 5 weeks plus,
Hmm.
and that's starting anyway. So yeah, we've had a lot of smoke in the Pacific Northwest, and a lot of people might, I'm not going to assume that um, people are discouraged by it, but it's something, maybe you could speak to it a little bit. You've had a lot of it up in Washington, especially, has been hit pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like totally surrounded by fires and smoke. Like the whole place is a flame right now. We have the Grizzly Complex fire that's right around 15 miles south of me now. It's like slowly creeping towards me, and everything has just been terrible air quality. Like where we have warnings that the children are not supposed to go outside and old people should stay inside, and it's to the point where they're actually considering not letting sports teams practice because the air quality is so bad. And
Wow.
yeah, so it creates this constant like overcast, really orangish tone going on, which is great for the portrait work that I've been doing. It's not so great for the landscapes, but there's a photo that you've been working on that ended up really awesome, and you've been working with that, with the sky that you've been given.
I was out with a client of mine. He came over for a private workshop from Australia, and we were on the road for 7 days. And we had conditions that looked like they were going to be amazing. We were down on one of the beautiful coastal areas in Brookings, one of the most amazing locations probably on the Oregon coast at Arches Rock. And we had a layer of smoke, and then you could see light rays coming up behind the smoke through high wispy clouds. And this was only an hour and a half before sunset. But the thing that's really demoralizing about shooting the Oregon coast is the marine layer. And it came in and it crushed our soul that night.
Yep.
It rolled in, and we had probably a 20-minute window. It looked like there was going to be a 20-minute crack under the clouds. Just disappeared on us. So, I mean, I think the smoke in general can wreak havoc, but in certain scenarios, it can play into your favor. I'm going to share my screen here.
Yeah.
Um, just share the entire screen. And so this particular shot was taken out at Balancing Rocks, and this is in the Central Oregon Wilderness area. And these are just volcanic rocks with just enormous in scale, probably 30 feet high. Some of those are 40 feet. And there's a thick layer of smoke. And what that smoke ends up doing is really cast this really crazy, like orangey red glow over everything. And it just makes like the whole color palette like of the world, like, you said it, Nick, when we talked about this picture, just like Martian looking.
Yeah, it totally looks like a Martian landscape.
And I was really excited about the smoke. Actually, we didn't have the best luck, but anything in the air is a good thing. If it's humid, if there's high wispy clouds, if you can see the sun and it's about to hit the horizon and there's something in the air, then there's something to catch the color. If it's just a clear sky, then that's great for night shooting, as long as clouds don't roll in, but it's not really great for sunset. Right. So anything in the air, and it's not the most dramatic thunderstorm, like purple, yellows, greens, whatever type of crazy light, but it did fill up the sky in this composition, and we were definitely both excited to have the conditions.
And what's cool about it is it's not something that happens every day either. It's a something different, something special, and it kind of tells a story in itself. Like, this was taken during the extreme wildfire season of 2015, because this year's wildfire season has just been like epic. It's been pretty devastating, really. And
yeah, I mean, we haven't had rain in the Pacific Northwest for who knows how long. Right. And we were actually up at Crater Lake, and it looked like it was gonna just suck, right? I mean, there was nothing going on, but this low layer of smoke that was kind of sticking to the north end of the lake, it just created this red, crazy glow that right as the sun was setting in. And usually the sun is a strong enough source of light that unless there's something really thick, you can still see it, right? Unless it's a thick cloud formation or something. So even if there is a lot of smoke, you can often still see the sun through it. So it was pretty amazing. Like, I think that smoke has the opportunity. I mean, there's the opportunity there to get some really interesting lighting conditions that are unique.
Yeah. I'm going to share my screen now. Kind of on the other side of this token, I had a photo shoot where it had to be done like now, and it was for a winery that I had just shot for, and they're very particular about the image that they want to convey with their winery. They want things to look pretty and not apocalyptic. And so I had to try to make do with what was given, and I had to deliver what they were expecting. So that's pretty crazy looking. So this is what it looked like pretty well out of camera. And so what I did was I searched through and I found a sky that looked like moderately realistic, and I ended up with this photo. And this is much more what they were expecting, because they want to convey a bright, happy place that people want to visit and go spend money. And
Yeah.
this guy just doesn't feel that. It looks like it's right outside LA somewhere, and we're breathing smog. So
We're all gonna die soon.
exactly. But I talked about the last time we talked about how the smoke actually adds this level of haze on the horizon, and that's a haze that we're normally, well, not normally, but some of us, we actually paint in a little bit in Photoshop to try to add that element of something in the air, because
Sure, yeah.
that's the
Real
way we
life art
see it.
effect, right?
Right, and that's the way we see it with our eyes. We don't have all that contrast back on the horizon, but for some reason, when through our processing, we end up with all that contrast on the horizon. So, what I liked is that the smoke actually added that for me, so I didn't have to do that, and so that
Sure.
made the sky replacement pretty easy.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
All right, well, I think that pretty much does it for our test. I
Woo!
know
Down the
that's
rabbit hole.
yeah. So, I guess we'll chat later. This has been a good talk. Thanks for coming on, Majeed.
Thanks.
All right.